I need to build a routine with habits and consistency and all that nice stuff that people seem to have. But we are facing one big problem and also one big reason as to why I would like to have a routine, which would be people with autism are known to thrive on routines, but also I think everyone who is somewhere neurospicy, as people like to say, have also pretty big difficulty setting up routines based on a cute little thing called executive dysfunction. But what is executive dysfunction? Well, according to Brenda Goodman and Shelley Shepard on WebMD, executive dysfunction is when you have problems with your executive function skills. It might be hard for you to plan, organize, strategize, pay attention to details, and manage your time. Executive dysfunction disorder isn't just being forgetful or disorganized occasionally. It's a long-term condition that affects your everyday life. For example, you might have trouble doing tasks that have steps, such as cooking a meal or finishing a work or school project. It's no matter of how smart you are or how much effort you put in. It's a disconnect in your brain's ability to coordinate and carry out tasks. In case you want to read the full article, I'll link it down in the description. I feel like often the best way for autistic people to get things done is either by A, it being your special interest, or B, tricking yourself into doing it. Since A is not always possible, I'm gonna be focusing on option B, trickery. I asked the internet for some ideas how to play this little game of mine and wrote some of the more helpful things, at least for me, down. In my opinion, by simply being more specific in your to-dos, you can already do so much, because at least for me, I often just get completely lost in what I was trying to do or what I meant, or the task is just too large. For example, if I would write down, make a video, what would that mean exactly? Okay, make a video, but there are so many steps involved to having the finished product of the video that it's just, okay, where do I start? What exactly did I mean with that? And there are probably people who are just completely fine with writing down, make a video or tidy up or something like that. But for me, at least, I need steps. I need specific to-dos that I can tick off and feel this little sense of accomplishment, and that motivates me because it makes me feel like I'm being so productive. Like, I can tick off now 5 boxes instead of 1. Great deal. So I really like that. But I also understand that it's a little bit difficult to sometimes know what tasks are involved, so just write down the steps you do know that you have to take in order to get to where you want to be. Language. Just take the steps, baby steps, one by one. To have something visual to help you stay on track, or just remind you. In my case, often it's sort of the same thing, but I need reminders all the time. I need to be reminded of everything because I get distracted so often by myself most of the time. Putting a post-it, for example, on your fridge to remind you to take your meds. Easy done. I, for example, really like the classic reminders app on my phone and set them for everything. I always write them at night or before I go to bed, and then the next morning I know what I have to do, but I still set reminders for all the things when I need to leave the house, that I don't forget to take my supplements, to pack something and put something in my bag that I need to bring with me, and I'm completely sure I will forget it. And sometimes I often don't even need them, but I still set them, and it's like outsourcing your brain a little bit. It lets me sleep well because I know now I don't have to depend on me not forgetting, but I know I cannot forget to do the thing because I'm going to be reminded by a little device that replaces some part of my brain. What a time to be alive. The only thing that I feel like often keeps us from helping ourselves to be better at executive function things, which are hard for a lot of people. They're not only hard for neurodiverse people, but they're hard for a lot of, you just forget things sometimes. Sometimes it's hard to clean up, to keep up a personal hygiene. It's difficult. A lot of people struggle with it. Also, if you grew up in a household where your parents, for example, did not really teach you how to brush your teeth. For example, I don't think anyone ever taught me really how to brush my teeth. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. You're fine. There is no shame in giving yourself and helping yourself doing simple things, because they're not simple for everyone. So don't be ashamed of or thinking it's childish to, I don't know, I have my routine printed out on my wall. And some people probably would think that's a bit extreme, because how can I forget what to do in my day? But I do. I get distracted. I mean, we all get lost on social media, on TikTok, and maybe we all would need a little bit help for our brains. We don't give it to us because it's childish or seen as something you should just be able to do, even though a lot of people are not just able to constantly be productive all the time, except for like productivity YouTubers, where it also kind of seems unhealthy in my opinion. But that's just me. I just like rewarding myself. That's all. And I do think sort of bribing yourself into doing things is pretty efficient, at least for me. I've recently read an independent article that also says that because we are not spreading false information here on my little Chanel. I've read that at least people with ADHD have a really hard time. Like, there's a difference in external and internal motivation. And internal motivation is you doing a thing like a hobby because you enjoy doing the thing. You do the thing just to do the thing. I don't know, you knit because you enjoy knitting. You don't knit because you want the sweater or whatever you're trying to make. You knit because you enjoy the process of knitting. That's internal motivation. External motivation would be you go to work for money. You don't go to work, maybe you do go to work because you enjoy work. That's a great thing and good for you. But a lot of people go to work for money. They don't enjoy what they're doing. They just want money. And that's what keeps them motivated, and a contract, but let's pretend, to do the thing. Or you study for a test and you don't study because you enjoy studying so much, but you study because you want to have a good grade. That's external motivation. And I've read that for people with ADHD at least, internal motivation is a really difficult thing to have. So external motivation is a lot more efficient at keeping yourself motivated. And there, positive reinforcement, positively doing things, makes no sense. positive reinforcement could help you greatly. There are certain things that I hate doing. Grocery shopping alone. I hate I hate grocery shopping alone. Not like one thing. I don't care about getting one thing, but like a whole week's worth of food. It's so stressful. I hate the lights, the people, the background noise, and especially at the cash desk. Like, just, it is so fast. I feel so slow. I'm so glad that I can pay with my phone now and no longer have to find my wallet. I hate getting groceries. And every time I would do it when I used to live alone, I would full on have a pep talk before and afterwards. I would just give myself like the. And that's so important, especially if something is hard for you. Just acknowledge that you just did a thing. It's hard for you. Good job. And also a way I like to implement this, at least for me, is by rewards. I've set up a reward system for tasks that I seem to forget or not be completely motivated to do all the time. Like working out, I think the specific ones are working out, cleaning sessions, also work on my videos, even though I do enjoy them, making them, of course. It's still hard because of the organizational part of it, exactly what I'm talking about right now. This is the most vague one, in my opinion. You can do whatever you want with just as make it pretty. Just make it pretty. But for me, I feel like I spend a lot of time at my desk editing things, just sitting there watching hours of YouTube or reading weird shit on Tumblr. So this place where I plan on, and I also do spend a lot of time at, should be a nice place. And I thank the autistic gods. I have my special interests are because you can. This is a great way to implement your special interests into your productivity. At least it depends on your special interests. But for me, the autism gods have blessed me that they're all very bound to an aesthetic, which works great for this little tip. Because my interests are very fantasy and Greek mythology based. A couple of ideas how to make things pretty or like aesthetically pleasing. Because aesthetic, I think, even though it is, I don't know if the word aesthetic is like meant to be with looking at things, but now it's kind of used out of context at this point. But you could just tidy up your space. You could just tidy up your desk, place a couple of nice things, little trinkets on it, maybe a candle. People love candles. Candles are great. A room spray. Make it smell good. Make yourself smell good. I've just sprayed myself with some body mist just for me. You're not smelling me. I'm smelling myself. But still, I feel more ready to do whatever I need to do because I smell great. And maybe getting dressed in the morning is also making yourself pretty, making the space pretty, listening to something. If it's not distracted to you, a playlist, maybe classical music, some whatever you like music. If deathcore is like the thing you feel like you can relax and stay focused on the most, and be my guest, but just make it as appealing, make the thing as appealing to you as possible. Amazing. And the last thing that I really enjoy, like, I have not invented any of these. These are all very established things that people do. but in my opinion effective. So yeah. One of the things I just recently tried and I really recommend is to group tasks together and just put them in blocks instead of completely changing your entire day because of an event, or you meet up with a friend, or whatever happens. I think that rhymed. You could just move around the blocks, and that's easier for your brain. At least it's easier for my brain.